3-2 pitch from Lugo. And it is called strike three. Got him looking. 8th strikeout of the day for Lugo. He's gone 7 innings for the 3rd time this year. He walks off the mound working with a 2-run lead. He allowed 1 run, just that home run by Jansen.
Welcome to the Royals Rundown Podcast presented by Royals Review. I can't sing.
Is this a musical episode?
I think so.
I don't have my notes ready. I'm not prepared for this.
Well, don't worry. I'm very prepared, but I'm very prepared to be tone deaf. No, we are not going to be singing this whole episode. I am Jacob Milham, joined as always by the man with the singing voice in this podcast, Jeremy Greco. Jeremy, how we feeling on this Wednesday evening?
Today was a hard day at the day job, but it was a good day at the ballpark.
Yes, it absolutely is. We are recording this in the bottom of the 8th inning currently as the Royals are looking to tie things up in a nice little blowout bow over the Toronto Blue Jays. They're currently leading 6-1 thanks to a 3-run homer from Michael Massey in the top of the 8th. Michael Massey. We're absolutely back in the prime Michael Massey era. Don't you worry. He has a bat and it travels well. He might just not hit dingers in Kauffman, but he hits dingers on the road. And that's what matters. We got a lot to talk about today, but first you got to go support the work that is going on over at royalsreview.com. That is where you can find all the Royals news, analysis, and commentary that you want. And you can follow them on social media too, at X and on Facebook at Royals Review. Alrighty, Jeremy. So what do you want to start off with? We got a few different directions we can go in today's episode.
Why are you making me choose? I'm bad at choosing things. You got
to be decisive here, man.
All right, let's start with this series. Let's start with the fact that that Matthew Lamar had an article come out today that was like, hey, the Royals, Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez are the only ones who are consistently hitting. And he's not wrong. But today and yesterday now, Vinny Pasquantino and Michael Massey have shown up. So you just add a couple more hitters to those guys, and you're scoring a lot of runs. And with the way the pitching has been, and I'm sorry, Seth Lugo truthers, dude just doesn't give up runs. I don't know what to tell you. Like, he should be giving up runs by every measure I know, but he doesn't. So the Royals win their first rubber match today, get a road series win, which it might be the first one they've had all year. I'm trying to remember. I know they lost, huh?
I think it is.
Yeah, they lost to the Mets. They beat the White Sox on the road too.
Oh, did they? Yeah, they did. You're right.
But they've not played very well on the road, even though they've been pretty dominant at home. So nice to see a road series win. Nice to see a rubber match win. Also, the Royals yesterday with that win yesterday, 17th win, most ever in April. So even though it's like, oh, they're in second place, oh, they're losing more games than I'd like. Well, they're still winning a lot of games, a lot more games than they've won. Even when they won the World Series in '85, even when they won the World Series in 2015, winning more games. This is what you want. I'm sorry, the AL Central is a lot tougher right now than it seemed like it was going to be at the beginning of the year. I was denigrating the Twins on Sunday, but they were in the middle of, a 7-game winning streak? Mm-hmm. So, this is a tough division, at least right this second. And the Royals are still in second place, have the best run differential in the big leagues. They've allowed the fewest runs in the big leagues per game. So just
there's a lot to like, man.
Yeah, there's it's so frustrating. They lose 2 out of 3 to Detroit, and I'm ready to spin out and dive into a garbage can and be like, what even is this? Why do I care so much? And then they go to Toronto and they take 2 out of 3, and I'm like, all right, everything's good. We're going to win the World Series. So very, very, very much the roller coaster emotions with this team for me. How about you, Jacob?
I'm absolutely in the same spot. Listen, first off, talking about the AL Central, they have 4 teams. Before this game is final, the Royals are about to be 19-13, but the AL Central has 4 teams with at least 17 wins heading into this evening. That's a pretty tough division. Right, that is the only division to have that many teams above that watermark. And you think about, the AL West, for example. All 4 teams could be leading the AL West right now or tied for the lead.
Yeah.
It is a very
Astros
tough
are bad.
division. Yeah. The Astros are bad. The Mariners are doing okay. The Rangers do not look like defending World Series champions right now. But don't forget
Angels
about
are still the Angels.
Yep. But hey, the Oakland Athletics are always there. 14-17, third place. Woohoo! We like
unbelievable.
it. I know, right? But you talked about the runs scored and the runs allowed, and yeah, if this line holds true, we are currently 2 outs in the top of the 9th. The Royals will still only have allowed 98 runs through 32 games?
Something like that, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Holy cow.
Yeah, when you think about it like that, it's really, really impressive. And if I'm looking at this correctly, yeah, they're one of 2 teams who haven't allowed more than 100 runs this season.
When you're keeping other teams to 3 runs a game, which is about what they were entering this game, 3 runs a game, you're gonna win a lot of games, even with a not great offense.
Exactly. And like their offense, I get it, they're very streaky right now. We really saw that against the Tigers, and we saw it against the Toronto Blue Jays as well, I feel like. But when they score in bunches.
Well, that's kind of where I come down on this whole thing of like, are the Royals good? Are the Royals not good? The offense doesn't look very good right now. Yeah, it doesn't look good right now, but these are streaky hitters. They're going to get hot again. And they're going to score a whole bunch of runs again, as long as the pitching is consistent. And that's the big if, because as we saw Monday night, Jonathan Bolin, not exactly a great first MLB start.
Nope.
And he was the only guy who looked like he might be able to do that in the minor leagues. So if anybody in the rotation gets hurt, and they've got to figure out who's going to pitch the next Alec Marsh's next turn through the rotation before he can come back from the IL. Anybody else misses significant time, and Royals are going to be in big pain because they did add 2 starters, to kind of give them a full rotation, but they didn't add a 6th. So, and they don't have anyone kicking the door down in the minor leagues right now. So that's the big concern, is they're going to have to be unreasonably healthy, or really make some kind of really smart trade like they did for Cole Reagans. But who are they going to trade? Who are you going to trade right now? You don't want to trade your prospects. None of them are worth anything anyways. You don't want to trade out of, like last year they traded Aroldis Chapman because they didn't need a reliever. They needed prospects. Well, we need the relievers now to continue to lock down the games that the starters are getting to them. So I don't know what the trades are going to look like. It's going to be very interesting. Of course, I'm loving more and more the David Sandlin for John Schreiber trade that he pulled off. I know a lot of people weren't happy about that. I was not that high on Sandlin. What I wasn't sure about was, is John Schreiber any good? He's been pretty good. Pretty good. So that trade worked out really well. I should probably just stop doubting JJ Piccolo. He seems to know what he's doing now.
Yeah, he seems pretty decent at his job. If you do ask me, let's frame it like this. So JJ Piccolo, right? His 3 most impactful trades resulted in sending away 2 months of Aroldis Chapman, a low A outfielder, and a high A pitcher who is struggling mightily right now in the Boston Red Sox organization. Those 3 players netted them Cole Reagans, James MacArthur, and John Schreiber. Okay, like when you look at it like that, that is a great return on investment for the Kansas City Royals, and they are reaping those rewards right now. We saw it with Cole Reagan's dominant start on Tuesday night against the Toronto Blue Jays, and then literally Schreiber came in, got the hold, and then James MacArthur got his 7th save of the season. Like it's looking pretty good for any minor move. I'm not saying every minor move is going to hit. I'm not saying Colin Selby is going to be, the next Kelvin Herrera out of the bullpen.
If he is.
If he is, yes.
I'm more willing to, if you held a gun to my head right now and said, you you are going to be ended. Let's not use any of those words that get
ended.
you banned on TikTok. If you're gonna be ended unless you pick whether Colin Selby will succeed or fail. I would say he's going to succeed, not because of anything Colin Selby's ever done, but because the Royals keep hitting on these trades.
Yep, exactly. And that's a dangerous thing. Hope is a dangerous thing, just like Denzel said in Shawshank Redemption. It is. I'm looking forward to it though, and this is really making the fan base excited for this team down the stretch. And yeah, they're getting the monkey off their back, finally winning a rubber match in this season, getting one on the road. This is I think this is the first Toronto Blue Jays series win the Royals have since 2017. That's
the statistic I saw. Yeah,
it is
Toronto.
Yeah. Sorry. Jack Johnson is the one who tweeted that out. It was their first series win in Toronto since '98. That is. I thought they traveled well to Toronto, but I guess not.
That doesn't sound right because it's not their first series win against Toronto since 2017 because they beat Toronto in the 4-game series last week. I feel like it's their first series win in Toronto since 2017 because I do remember hearing that stat, and I do remember it being 2017.
Well, let's see here. Okay, so if they win today, it would be their first series win in Toronto since 2017. Excuse me. It would be their fourth series win there since 1998.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. I was very wrong. I was extremely wrong on that.
I mean, you had the 1998 didn't come from nowhere.
True. Jeremy, but something that Royals fans are dealing with right now is they can't watch how good the Kansas City Royals are. It is a very interesting time. So if you aren't a Comcast or Xfinity customer, what they're dealing with right now is Bally's just went dark on them. I was told they showed a part of the post game from the April 30th game, and then they just popped up with that little message saying, "Oh well, Bally Sports has not decided to re-up our carriage." Is it carriage or is it carriage? I am very
carriage.
It is. I'm a little confused by it, but we all know that I can't pronounce words very well to start off with, so it doesn't help at all. But long story short, Diamond Sports is saying that Comcast rejected a proposed extension that would have kept the two in tandem. They're both pointing the finger at the other. We know
there are no good guys here.
Yeah,
there's two giant corporations fighting with each other for millions of dollars. There are no good guys.
Nope.
There's just victims, which are the fans.
Yep, exactly. And I'm a little frustrated that this is a lot of MLB teams getting affected by this, including NHL and NBA teams, and the major sports brands are just keeping their hands out of this. Hey, Comcast and Diamond, y'all got to figure this out on your own.
I mean, they sold the rights to Diamond. What are they going to do? They don't have a leg to stand on.
No, they don't. You're right.
I mean, they could try to put political pressure on Comcast. Rob Manfred could call him up and be like, "Hey, come on, what's the deal?" But he doesn't have any ability to directly negotiate.
No, he doesn't, and I'm just hoping that there is some.
Not to say that the teams are good guys either.
No,
just for the record, or the league is a good guy. I'm just saying I don't know what they're supposed to do about it.
I am just hoping that there's some sort of resolution that doesn't make fans go more out of their pocket to watch the Royals, just because their provider and Diamond did not want to play nice together.
Yeah. Usually this sort of thing gets figured out pretty quick, but usually you wouldn't expect it to happen at all in the middle of the season.
Exactly.
You'd have expected them to get this stuff figured out before the season. Now, maybe there was all that stuff about is Diamond even going to carry these games on Bally Sports? So maybe that delayed some of those negotiations some. Maybe Comcast thinks they have a little bit more power because Diamond is in such bad shape. Mm-hmm. I don't know what all is going on here. All I can say is that it's frustrating. And I we live in the year 2024. why are these still problems that we keep running into where it's like, I just want to watch my sports team. Can I just watch my sports team? No. No,
it's only an issue because of blackouts.
We have satellite dishes, we have laser beams, we have fiber optic cable. You can't watch your game because rich people want to get richer.
Yep. Bingo. But that is, I'm just hoping that there's some sort of quick resolution. I will say with how sudden this was and like how it was unannounced, like usually you would hear someone would leak something saying, hey, Xfinity or Comcast and Diamond, they're far apart and they won't re-up the rights. We didn't hear any of that heading into last night. So I'm hopeful that they are close at least, and they will play ball, for lack of better terms, here in the near future. Haha, get it? Get it, Jeremy?
I'm disappointed in you, Jacob.
As you should be. As you should be. There is one person out there that Royals fans should not be disappointed in, and that is 2023 first-round draft pick Blake Mitchell.
Blake Mitchell!
Which Jeremy has, what's the word? Jeremy has rescinded his rule for exception of Blake Mitchell.
A little bit.
A lot of it, sir. You're out there retweeting highlights and stuff. That is a lot of it.
Listen, when there's nobody to get excited about in AAA or AA, and Blake Mitchell is kind of like, he was such, what's the word I'm looking for? A divisive draft pick, because he has a lot of raw talent, but historically high school catchers have not done well. And then other people argued, well, okay, high school catchers either really succeed or they really bomb. But here's the tweet I got from Preston Farr that I retweeted. Player A, 18 games, 88 plate appearances, /272, 318, 346, 6 walks, 17 strikeouts, 6 stolen bases. Or player B, 18 games, 6 plate appearances, 273, 442, 460. So very similar, except quite a bit more
slugging,
walks and slugging.
Walks,
It's 19 walks versus 6 walks, but 29 strikeouts to 17, 7 stolen bases. Because basically player B is striking out more, but walking more and also hitting for more power. Player A is Bobby Witt Jr.'s first 18 games in rookie ball. Player B was Blake Mitchell so far this year. And then he added a home run in his walk and a walk to that stat line. So the strikeouts are concerning, because if you're striking out a lot in rookie ball, what are you going to do when you get to AA and everybody's got better stuff and better location? That is a concern to me. But it's not like he can't take a walk. He's taken plenty of walks too, and he's shown plenty of power. So some guys strike out a lot, but they also walk a lot and hit for a lot of power. And if that's Blake Mitchell and he's got a decent glove behind the plate, which he's supposed to, if I remember correctly, then we're going somewhere. Would I rather he was hitting 400 and striking out about half of that? Yes. But we can't have everything. So I'm getting a little excited. Yes, I know he's in rookie ball, but I'm getting a little excited, especially because he did not have a good debut in the complex league last year.
No.
So to see him getting some pretty numbers, some crooked numbers up there, that's good stuff.
Yeah, it is. And there is one big caveat I do want to put on this. He's currently got a 444 BABIP, which that is a major outlier, unfortunately. But I mean, 9 extra base hits in 19 games is absolutely going to play. His plate approach also gives me a lot of hope. Let's see here, pitches per plate appearance, nearly 4.5 pitches, which I know doesn't sound like a whole lot, but once you get to the majors, like, guys are sitting at like 3.8, 3.9, somewhere in there.
Michael Garcia's got to be at like 1.2. He swings it I love Michael Garcia. I'm still expecting him to be very good this year, but he swings at every first pitch.
He does.
He took too many. I believe, his cousin? Who's his cousin? Is his cousin Ronald Acuna Jr.?
Yeah.
Okay, for a minute I thought his cousin was Alcides Escobar, and I was like, that's too many lessons from your cousin, buddy. But maybe you should take more lessons from Ronald Acuna Jr., who has a little bit more success at that leadoff spot.
Mm-hmm. And actually, if they're both his cousins,
Oh, he's cousins to both Ronald Acuna Jr. and Alcides Escobar?
Yeah.
All right, so lean more towards Acuna, less towards Esky. Problem solved. No more of this Esky ambush stuff. It's not working.
Not as of right now, but hey, he is getting a couple of hits in there just off that ambush. So we need to see more of it. We need to see it more off of a extended time frame, if you will.
Do we?
I think so. I do.
I'm ready to end the ambush. Take a couple pitches, find the one to drive.
Well, I liked that his ambush to start off the Royals scoring run today. It wasn't an ambush at swinging and trying to score Kyle Isbel from second. You could talk all you want about sacrifice bunts. The Royals are still one of the teams who do it the rarest this season. I was very surprised about that. But he laid down a really good bunt that moved over Kyle Isbel to third, and he got out. It was a productive out, but I'm pretty sure the Blue Jays were not expecting that because he's been swinging so damn much.
Yeah. I am generally opposed to sacrifice bunts, but in this case, I will give them a pass just because Kyle Isbel's hit was the first hit against Bassett. And both pitchers were dealing. It was a shutout. You don't know what you're going to be able to get off of him. Put some pressure on him. Put some pressure on the Blue Jays as a team by getting a lead. And who knows what you can make happen. And I mean, that's basically what happened, right? You put pressure on them. They brought the infield in. Bobby Witt hits the single. So that is one of the rare occasions when I will give you a pass for your sacrifice bunt and say, all right, I don't hate it.
So let's see here. That was only Kansas City's second sacrifice bunt attempt this season, that was such a staple of even the Mike Matheny years. Like if you get any guy, even on first, they were doing it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Forcing the speed to play. Like, no, that is a good situation, I think. And actually, here's another surprising thing. Pedro Grifol, the former Royals guy up in Chicago, his team leads the league in sacrifice bunt attempts with 8.
That's not surprising at all.
Well,
they've adopted the former Royals philosophy.
It's just
former Royals manager, former Royals players, former Royals bunting attempts.
Yep. It's consistent at least. That's what I thought was it shouldn't be surprising, but I'm just surprised that
Nicky Lopez is on that team.
Isn't that the value he brings at the plate? Productive outs.
Yes, that's Nicky Lopez's calling card. I bring productive outs to your lineup. Can you bring hits? No. Productive outs.
Productive outs. Yes. Can do that. Yeah, listen, there is we talked about the shallowness of this team on the last episode a little bit, and like we're seeing that in the farm system, we're seeing it at the major league level. So it feels a little like one domino is going to cause this whole thing to crumble, but right now it's not crumbling, and that is really, really fun, Jeremy, isn't it?
Yeah, all I asked for after last year was to give me a team where there would still be a reason to watch in August. If you give me September, that's bonus. That's bonus time as far as I'm concerned. Give me a reason to watch in August. And they are playing like a team that is going to be giving me a reason to watch in August. Will they make the postseason? Will they win the division? Hard to say, especially as good as the Guardians have been, as good as the Tigers have been. The Twins still don't scare me that much, especially Byron Buxton went down with another injury today. So he's one of their best hitters out of their lineup. That's going to take a toll on them. But like this division, as we kind of mentioned at the top, turning out to be pretty difficult to play in right now. Yep. The Royals could still win this division easy. Not easy, but like it is very within the realm of possibility. They're in second place. They're 2 games back. That's within striking distance, even on the last series of the year, much less in May.
Exactly.
So like this is what I asked for. I asked for a team that gives me a reason to watch, that doesn't make me want to turn it off after 5 minutes every night or not even turn it on. and that's what we're getting. And I think that's enough for now.
Hey, I will absolutely take that. And this is heading into the dog days of summer for baseball. You know, this is how many times have we heard you can lose a division in April, but you can't win one in April. And we've seen the Royals time and time again lose the division, lose any chance in April. And right now they're carrying it.
It would be so easy right now to be looking at this division and go, man, the Guardians, Twins, and Tigers are all playing really well, and the Royals are they're a few games under 500, and they already feel out of it, even though they're playing, like, even then, if they were just playing a little bit better than last year, just a few games under 500 instead of completely buried, they would feel like they were out of it right now. And instead, they're in the thick of it. They're leading the way in a lot of ways. I mean, that run differential for the season, leading baseball, that is a big deal. And you can complain about, oh man, Seth Lugo can't be this good for real. The offense isn't very good. You can complain about all that, all you want about that, but I'm going to point to the scoreboard. Run differential. Run differential. The team with the best run differential wins games. That's what that means. Because if you've got a positive run differential, that means you're scoring more runs than you're giving up.
Exactly.
That's literally all that is.
Yeah, let's see here. So I think they're going to end today as like on top alone for the biggest run differential in baseball. Currently they sit at plus 50. The Braves are one of the teams tied with them for the biggest run differential, and they're leading the Mariners by 4 right now. So maybe we'll see what happens. But
this is not an advanced statistic. This is not when you look at this, you can tell that things are about to turn their way. No, things are already going their way.
Yeah. Well, no, things aren't going their way, Jeremy.
No,
they aren't. Because your Kansas City Royals have the best expected win-loss ratio in baseball. Think about that. 22-10 is what the stats say they should be. And they're 19-13. They've already been unlucky. And they're still doing this. It's amazing. It really is. And just enjoy it, y'all.
Things are exciting now. They could get a lot more exciting. These hitters get hot again. MJ Melendez finds another hot streak. Maikel Garcia finds a hot streak. Hunter Renfroe even might have one in him somewhere. I don't know. It's very, very deep.
I'm not counting on it.
It could happen though, and all of a sudden they could rip off another 10-game winning streak.
Yeah, they absolutely could. And imagine the the margin for error that would give them. Right now, the margin for error is extremely tight in the AL Central. We talked about that a little off air. The broadcast was saying Tuesday night, if they won, they would have the 4th best record in the American League. But if they lost, they would have fallen to 4th place in their division. Like, that's a major swing right there. But we're talking about getting hot. I do want to talk about one guy who is absolutely scorching hot right now, it feels like, and that is the one and only Kyle Isbel.
Okay.
Who is maybe scorching hot is not the right term. Maybe I'm a little too bullish on that. But at the plate, at least, if you look at his standards, a 304 average, a 360 OBP is absolutely going to play. He hit his what was that? His third home run against the Toronto Blue Jays on Monday night. So that was great. He's got 7 hits in his last 23 ABs. He's not striking out a ton. I don't think he's putting like noticeably better contact on the ball. I think there are still some of those issues, but I gotta do a deeper dive because his plate approach does look different. I'm seeing a little bit of different movement with the head of his bat compared to earlier on in the season. So I'm intrigued by that. But Jeremy, what I wanted to ask you is I'd kind of written off Kyle Isbel as an offensive black hole. Like he's going to be a 60 WRC plus guy, and he's just going to be at the bottom of the lineup in center field. But even if he's a even if he is like a 60 WRC plus guy, do you think his defense still makes him a valuable part of this Royals lineup?
So I was on, what's the name of that podcast or TV show or whatever I was on last night? I don't remember the name of it, but it's hosted by the pro wrestling guy, Gerald. Anyway,
I'm blanking on
those
it.
of you who know what it is, know what it is. Those of you who don't have a clue, sorry. Hopefully you'll find it. I keep asking for like links to the videos so that I can share them or to the podcast so I can share them, and I haven't gotten one yet. But I was on there last night and we were talking about Kyle Isbel, and I said, listen, and I've talked about this here before too. Listen, I'm not a defense guy. I want hitters in my lineup. Yeah. And if you can play defense too, great. If you can't, well, if you can hit, I'm okay. Kyle Isbel is the exception to that rule for me.
Okay.
Kyle Isbel is so good at defense at such a premium position, and a position that in Kauffman in particular, but in the AL Central in general especially, is vital. A lot of big center fields in the AL Central. Mm-hmm. A lot of games that are played there. You having him covering all that ground is hugely vital. We saw him basically win a game for them last week. I think it was Thursday, the afternoon game that got rained out after 5 innings. Yeah. He had, he saved that game because if he doesn't make that ridiculous catch in center field, then who knows what happens? The Royals could lose the lead, go to the bottom of the fifth. They're losing. The game gets rained out. That's it. They don't get their chance to come back. So that's who he is. The other thing that I will say about Kyle Isbel is you call him a 60 WRC plus player, but he's a 70 WRC plus player, which is not 60. That's where he was 75 last year. He's 73 so far this year. He'll go up to 74 after today. But if he could get that up to 80, 85, oof. I don't think anyone would even be complaining about him.
No,
he's not that far from being like a competent number 9 hitter. And I look at the projections for him. Okay. I look at the Zips rest of season projections for him. Zips thinks he's a 97 WRC plus guy for the rest of the year.
Really?
Zips thinks that he's got something. And it still thinks he can play defense. 97 is still not great offensively. That's a little bit below average. But if you're just a little bit below average and you play defense like he does at a premium spot like he does, that's why I'm not ready to give up on Kyle Isbel. I don't know if I'll ever be ready to give up on Kyle Isbel until you can give me another center fielder who's at least very good defensively, because he is excellent defensively. As far as I'm concerned, Kyle Isbel is not just a Gold Glove contender; he's a Platinum Glove contender.
Ooh,
now, people want to see Drew Waters, and I get it. He's one of the few guys who's hitting in AAA. The outfield has been an offensive black hole. Mm-hmm. But if you want to see Drew Waters up here, and I'm not opposed to that. You're not replacing Kyle Isbel with Drew Waters.
No.
If I had my way, I'm cutting Hunter Renfroe. And then I'm rotating Waters, Velasquez, Melendez around until I figure out who's hot, and then that guy stays in until he's not hot anymore.
I think that would be a great approach. I really do. The first step in that is probably the toughest one, is swallowing Hunter Renfroe's guaranteed money. But if I'm understanding this correctly, it's the guaranteed money to him right now is only $6.5 million, which I say only 6.5. Because if I'm looking at this correctly, he's currently on a $5.5 million salary for 2023, and then he has a player option worth $7.5 million in 2025 with a $1 million buyout.
I think that if the Royals cut him, he can just opt into that and get that money.
Okay. I'm uneducated on it. So if y'all have one way or another, please just drop us a line on X and educate us.
Because otherwise the player option would be not very valuable. You'd just cut the guy before he had an opportunity to exercise the option. and we've never seen that before. Would have happened to Eric Hosmer for sure. Didn't though. So I do believe the player gets the opportunity to opt in when they're being cut.
Okay. So again, still doesn't change the fact that first step is the hardest step, just because of the amount of guaranteed money to Hunter Renfroe.
Well, and the thing I'll say about that is front offices have got to learn about sunk cost fallacies sometime. Why not now? And also the Royals have shown more willingness in the last couple of years to go ahead and eat those costs. Hunter Dozier is still under contract for this season. And they said, you know what, we're cutting you now early last year because he just had no place on the team anymore. Now, they have played kind of the inventory game. A lot of people were mad that Will Smith is still on this roster and Will Klein is in AAA. And I get it. But I also think Will Smith probably has more value than Hunter Renfroe at this point. So I don't hate that as much. Hunter Renfroe, and I loved watching him gun down Davis Schneider last night.
Great. That was a great throw.
But I'm sorry, the defense that he brings is not to the level that will cover the bat like Isbel's does.
Very true, and we can talk about, I will admit Hunter Renfroe has had a couple of good catches this year, but the thing that makes him and Isbel so different is Isbel makes really great catches look routine.
Yep.
While Renfroe makes some routine catches look very, very difficult.
There was an article that I was reading today about Kyle Isbel's most impressive catch this year, in which he turned an out that only had it was a 29% probability of being an out, which is another way of saying 710 expected batting average on that ball, which is a lot. Yeah. Very high. He turned it into an out, and it like if you watch the replay, he just was there because he gets a better jump than anybody, and it works out. So that was the thing that kind of hurt Lorenzo Cain too. People want to look at, they're like, oh, diving catches, leaping catches, blah blah blah, so exciting. That's not what a good defender does, though. A good defender makes that catch look easy, and that's what Kyle Isbel is doing right now.
Exactly, and that is, he should be in the Royals center field until Kingdom Come right now, or at least until the end of the 2024
I mean, if
season.
you can find me somebody who can really hit the tar out of the ball in center field and play okay defense, I'll let you swap him. But I'm not going to swap him for Drew Waters. Drew Waters is not, like, even if Drew Waters brings his exact batting line from Omaha to Kansas City, he's not a better enough batter to cover that defense, especially when you're looking at both of the corner spots going, well, nobody's hitting there either.
Yeah. Which is why, okay, let's remove Renfroe from this idea, right? Let's just say you brought up Waters and you optioned down, I don't know, Blanco for some reason.
Okay,
swap them out. Now you have a rotation there of Melendez, Velasquez, and then Waters,
and
Renfroe. and
Renfroe at this point.
You have 4 guys who are competing for 2 spots, and you openly admit to them, hey, you are all in a competition right now. 3 of you have options remaining. Okay, 3 of you can go down to MLB or to the minor leagues. Excuse me. I don't think that's such a bad thing. I think like that would help. We're seeing MJ Melendez and Nelson Velasquez go out there over and over and over again, and they're not producing at all. You can move them up and down in the lineup all you want. You can have the matchups all you want, but they're not doing what you need them to do.
I do think that Melendez might be close to a breakout. It was Monday night. He hit the tar out of 2 balls that turned into outs. He had another line drive last night or today. I don't remember. He's getting some good swings of the ball. He's also getting some really bad swings in the ball, but that's kind of his MO. But I do wonder if he's about to go on a hot streak. Nelson Velasquez, I don't know what is going on with him. I didn't expect him to actually be all that good. Then he was very hot to start the year, hitting the ball the other way and pulling it for power. And he's just been hopeless at the plate and looked lost for a couple of weeks now. So I don't know what's going on with him, but I do wonder if Melendez is right on the verge of something.
So that is, I really do want to believe that. I do. And the exit velocity and the barrel rate and the expected slugging even all rank above like in the 70th or better percentile, according to Baseball Savant. But I look at his rolling statistics, and he's still trending down in the expected statistics, which like that doesn't. If he was holding steady and just not getting the ball where it needed to be, then I would believe in it. Like, okay, now he's gonna get out of this funk. But his expected WOBA, like it's fallen from 412 on April 11th to 222. Like that's a major drop, and I get it. That's in 50 plate appearances. That's a lot of games for MJ Melendez. But to see it drop that drastically in that time frame, it just doesn't offer a whole lot of a whole lot of confidence for me.
I do wonder, and this honestly goes for the whole lineup. I wonder how many guys are pressing right now, because they're like, we got to score more runs, we got to support these pitchers, and it'll be interesting. The other thing I'm also interested in is NJ Melendez a second half guy? Because he hit well in the second half of both of his first two seasons, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's true.
And maybe he needs the weather to warm up before he can really get going. And I would hate to give up on him because last year people were ready to give up on him for the same time, same reason. You told me he's hit the ball hard, but he keeps getting out. Yeah. And then he was one of the best hitters in the second half of the year. So, I do wonder how much pressure he's putting on himself. He seems like the kind of guy who would put a lot of pressure on himself. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping the Royals winning and maybe some other guys getting some hits get him down lower in the lineup. Will free him up to figure some stuff out and get it unlocked again. But that's got to be something that he's got to figure out if he's going to have a long major league career, is how to not have the slumps go for forever, because he hits the ball hard no matter what he's doing.
You're right.
So he's got to limit those slumps somehow, and I don't know what the answer is. But hopefully the Royals, Alex Zumwalt and everybody over there will help him get that squared away.
Hopefully so. And I think that Thursday's off day, it might just be what some of these guys need. It was a long road trip. You come back home Thursday, and then you face off against the defending World Series champions on Friday, Saturday, Sunday in front of your home crowd. I think like that could be the jolt that some guys need, and I'm hoping that we have an exciting weekend of baseball ahead. But all that matters is the Royals right now, they're nearly 500 on the road. They are absolutely dominant at home, 12-5 record so far this year. Jeremy, that has to keep them on a good pace that you've been talking about previously, right?
Yeah, I haven't looked at the narrow path to 90 wins here in a minute. Well, let me pull it up because he does have month-by-month stats, so we can just compare April, right? So at the end of April, the Royals needed to be 18-14.
Hey, they're ahead of pace, right?
Yep, they were what, 18-13 yesterday?
Yep.
They lost a game somewhere in there, or maybe he included today's game. So 19-13 versus 18-14. So they're a game ahead of their pace.
Yep. And
that was going to be one of the tougher months. That was a 91 win pace month. In May, he said they needed to have an 87 win pace. It's a road heavy month, which brings that down. So that'll be interesting. In June, they only have to have an 83 win pace. July is when it gets really tough. They got to win 98, have a 98 win pace in 25 games there. In July, they have home series against the Rays, the White Sox, the Diamondbacks, and the Cubs, and then road series against the Rockies, two games against the Cardinals, the Red Sox, and the White Sox. So, they have to go 14-9 in that month, but that is a month where it looks like they're going to play a lot of not terrific teams. If I'm I'm looking at the standings now because I haven't looked in a minute. Now the Cubs have actually been pretty good, but the Cardinals have been worse than I thought. So you can flip that around. The White Sox. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say overall their remaining strength of schedule is like the second hardest in the division. But if you look at baseball as a whole, it's not that difficult. You have teams like the Red Sox who have their average opponent for the remainder of the season has a winning record. Meanwhile, the Royals currently their average opponent record is sitting at a 49 win percentage. So that's a big drop, and that offers a little bit of hope.
Yeah, the Rays, White Sox, Diamondbacks are all under 500. The Rockies are under 500, and the Red Sox are above 500, but not like crazily so. They're 17 and 13. The Cubs are 18 and 12. So those are the two tough series if you just look at winning percentages that the Royals would have that month. Yeah, but they're a game ahead of where they needed to be right now, and they've still got more series coming against the White Sox. They've got so what are they doing in May? They got the Rangers this weekend. They've also got the Brewers, the A's, and the Tigers. The A's and the Brewers need to be series that they win for sure. They've got a road series, 4 games against the Angels, which, hey, if you could take 3 there, that would be a good step. And then the Mariners, the Rays, and 4 against the Twins. So there's a lot. There's a lot of tests coming for them, but also some real opportunities to kind of gain some ground as well.
Yeah, it is. May is we said this at the beginning of April, and I get it. We might be sounding like a broken record, but May does seem like it's going to be a very important month to them determining their postseason future.
What I'm learning, Jacob, is that every series is very important if you continue to compete. Every month is important when you continue to compete. If the Royals were awful in April, well, you screwed up in April. Nothing else matters now. Royals were good in April. Okay, May still matters. This is still important.
This is a weird feeling, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's funny because I listened to the Kaiser and Nate Taylor. Only Weird Games, that's the name of it.
Oh, yeah.
I listen to that podcast all the time, and they're always like, this is an important game. This is an important game, and it cracks me up. But it's true. If you're winning, every game is actually still important. And so when you talk about, is this game important? Well, the question isn't who are they playing. The question is, have they won more games than they've lost? Then yes, this game is important. Now, the Chiefs kind of changed that a little bit because it's like, oh, well, you're 15 and 0. Maybe these last 2 games don't matter that much. But I remember in 2015, the Royals had won the division early in September. Yeah. Well, the rest of the games still were important. And we were like, oh, no, why are they losing? Oh, no, we still want to have the best record in MLB. So the fact that the games are still important in May just means that they've passed their first test.
Hey, keep on passing, and we're going to keep on watching. If you
have to pass every test. If you fail one, the rest of them don't matter anymore.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate truth about baseball. Teams are going to start, putting themselves out of contention here before too long. More and more are going to fall to that dreaded eliminated from postseason contention as summer goes along. But listen, the best way to stay informed about all of this, whatever's going on with the Royals, is over at royalsreview.com. Highly suggest you join the comment community over there, engage with other Royals fans. The game threads are an entertaining way to pass games, I will say. Certainly better than just tweeting about it on X or on posting about it on Facebook for some reason the whole time. Just engage with the Royals fans, have a conversation, have a little bit of fun over at royalsreview.com. Alrighty, Jeremy, I think we should go ahead and wrap this up with our Q&A responses, then we'll get to our reviews. How's that sound?
Have we talked about Salvador Perez enough?
I mean, we talked about him last time, but I mean, the guy is just absolutely red hot.
He's unreal. The guy is not human. I'm not buying in, though. I promise. I'm not buying in. He's going to fail any day now.
Jeremy, can you remember the last time he struck out?
It's been a minute. They were saying during the broadcast it'd been 38 plate appearances or something insane like that?
April 21st against the
Oh my
Orioles.
goodness.
This is Salvador Perez we're talking about. You know, the he strikes out and he swings at everything guy.
Yeah.
But he still hits the ball pretty hard. Well, now we see what happens when he doesn't strike out.
Yep.
It's kind of scary.
For the other team.
Yeah. For us.
Let me look at this real quick because I think he's walking more than ever, too.
He is.
Yeah, he's got an 8.5% walk rate, which would be by far the highest of his career if he could maintain that all year. Looking at this, 4.4 in his rookie year, 39 games, is the highest he's ever had over a full season.
So he's doubled
4.2 in 2021 is over a real full season.
Yeah.
So he would be more than doubling that. And his strikeout rate is 11, which would be more than halved what it has been the last few years, though it is pretty comparable to what he was doing in 2011, 2012, 2013. So like in some ways it's not a surprise that he's not striking out because he's done that before. But the last few years he traded strikeouts for power.
Right.
And this year he's not striking out, but he's also hitting for power. The dude, he's crazy, man. Every time I'm like, he's not a Hall of Famer, y'all. He's just not. He's like, well, let me hit 50 more home runs this year and see how you feel.
Yeah, it was. I'm a noted Salvador Perez doubter. I was like, okay, well, this guy, he has to still produce for like 3 or 4 more years.
Remember when I was ready to trade him for salary relief in the offseason?
Oof. Man, I was. Hey,
can you imagine if the Royals had done that and he was hitting like this right now?
Like if he was hit like this for the Marlins or something like that?
Yeah,
that would have aged so bad.
There would be riots.
Yes, there really would. They would be putting up a statue early in Kauffman Stadium just for the protesting. All right, man. Let me go ahead and pull up these Q&A responses. So while I do that, if y'all are unaware or listening to us elsewhere, you can listen to us on Spotify, where you have access exclusively to our polls and Q&As over there, and we read your responses on air in the following episode. So on our last full-length episode, I asked you, who are you ready for the Royals to move on from and why? I think Jeremy and I have made our choice known, but let's see what y'all have to say. Fistifer, the one and only, says, I would like to say Chris Stratton, but Jeremy makes a good argument why it's too soon to do that. Nash fan Sam says, they did most of the removing of players that needed to go last offseason, but probably Hampson if I had to choose one. There's a few options in the minors we could bring up. Ginger620 says, I have to say Renfroe. He's a power hitter with no power, and something has to be done about the bottom of the order. We can afford to move on from a guy who routinely flies out in 2 pitches. Mine the Mooses says, if Velasquez has options remaining, I think I would start there. It would be a lower risk move to test out some options before making any permanent cuts. I mean, that's fair. They talk about all this roster flexibility, Jeremy, and I guess they should probably exercise that a little bit.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Royal Rupert coming out of left field, as always, says, the offense, it is offensive. I want to see what Lofton, Alexander, and Rave can do at the bottom of the order. Which they could replace any number of Kansas City Royals players. But I don't know CJ Alexander's quietly having a good run at it. And Nick Lofton wasn't terrible when he actually got opportunities this year. He was
not as good as people keep telling me he was, though.
It's the truth, though. It's not like he was making himself undeniable to option down.
CJ Alexander, I'm looking at his AAA stats right now, slashing 301, 341, 590.
Dang, I didn't realize he was that good. Holy cow.
Yeah, 289 ISO.
Ooh.
He's not walking. He's not striking out that much. But I would not mind demoting Velasquez or Melendez and giving him a shot at the DH spot. Probably Velasquez is the guy I would demote because, again, I do think Melendez is the closest. But also, I was ready to move on from Hunter Renfroe when they announced the signing.
Yeah, that take has not changed at all, folks. Trust me, Jeremy has been very, very consistent about his feelings towards
I would
Hunter
love
Renfroe.
to love Hunter Renfroe, like, he's the kind of guy I would love to root for. It's just not happening.
Nope. It's going to take a major turnaround for that opinion.
We could trade him for Ryan O'Hearn.
Oh my, no, I don't. I think, believe it or not, I think Ryan O'Hearn has more trade value than Hunter Renfroe does right now. All right, and I am very disturbed to hear that. Listen, folks, I know since this kind of doubles as a Royals recap for the evening, I will actually have the full length post game interviews following our Royals reviews. Bally's did me dirty last night, and Josh Vernier even commented about it on his post-game episode. Like, we rely on Bally's to give us these full-length interviews, and usually they're like 2-3 minutes long at least, and last night they gave us like an 18-second clip from Michael Massey and a 24-second clip from Matt Quatrero. Like, that was it. No, so now everything is okay. We have 5 minutes worth of post-game interviews, so I am happy. But Jeremy, could you start us off for Royals reviews?
Yeah, let me real quick before I get to that. I just need to read you Ryan O'Hearn's slash line in Baltimore right now. 299, 373, 552 for a 926 OPS. That, my friend, is a 166 WRC plus. Whew, man! If only the Royals could have fixed him before he went to Baltimore.
So what you're saying is he's an MVP contender in Baltimore
right this second, I guess. His defense is still extremely subpar, and he's only played in 21 games. So I don't think he actually qualifies for the batting title right this second. I don't think he's got enough at-bats. But when he's in there, he's hitting.
Yeah, I love it.
So my review this week is going to be, all right, here, I'm going to throw another oldie at you. All right. I had some art commissioned this last week of two of my favorite video game characters, Kiryu Kazuma of Yakuza fame and Lightning Farron of Final Fantasy 13. I had a commission of them kind of back to back, ready to face their enemies together. It's very cool. It's up on my Twitter account if you want to check it out. But so that has me thinking about Final Fantasy 13 and just how good that game was. That whole trilogy is solid, especially compared to the Final Fantasy 15, which I love half of Final Fantasy 15, but the second half is bad, y'all. It is bad. And Final Fantasy 13, I think, suffered from the marketing, where the marketing promised a lot of things that didn't end up showing up in the game. And so people were upset about that. And I get it. I didn't check out the marketing, though. I just played the games, and they're good games. Is Hope annoying? Is Snow annoying? Yeah, they're supposed to be. Like, Snow's whole deal is that he thinks he's some kind of big superhero, and finding out that, like, being a superhero and just kind of like strutting around and being arrogant about it gets people killed. And that he has to learn to like actually take responsibility for things instead of just telling everyone he's a hero. There's really interesting character arcs just in that entire cast, which I think with 6 characters is a little bit smaller than you see from a lot of other Final Fantasy casts. Final Fantasy X even had 7 main characters. Others had way more than that, and I think bringing that cast down to a smaller size let them really focus in on who these people were a little bit more. And the gameplay, I'm sorry, some of you are like, oh, you can press the A button and auto combat everything. Not if you want to like be good. Not if you want to defeat the tough enemies. I mean, if you just want to grind for a few hours, then yeah, you can out-level the boss, but you can do that in any RPG. If you want to actually beat the boss at level, you're going to have to try. So that does, like, the gameplay is really good. The characters are really interesting. And it's been like 20 years or something. We're getting close to 20 years since that game came out. Dang. Give it another chance, y'all. Also, Square Enix, get us an HD remaster release or something. Come on, let's go.
Just repackage it. We need it in 4K.
I'm telling you, instant winner if they bundle the 3 games together, sell that out there. They could put full sticker price on that. Games they've already developed, I would buy it. I bet a lot of other people would buy it too.
I bet they would. I bet just print the money. Just printing money there, Square Enix.
People went out and they bought Final Fantasy III Pixel Remaster. That game is trash, and people went out and bought it. Yes, they also bought Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster. That one's good. So, yeah, that makes sense. But they bought Final Fantasy III Pixel Remaster, too. They'll buy anything. So give them some good games, all right? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm going to make my review quick so y'all can actually listen to it. So I'm actually reviewing the Baltimore Orioles tonight, which is odd, I will say. But
Ryan O'Hearn.
Yes, we've already reviewed Ryan O'Hearn and our feelings towards him. And the Orioles have already thoroughly shown us that they are a step above the Royals in 2024 this year. But what they did, they were hosting I think it was the Athletics in Camden Yards, and they had their autism acceptance night is what they call it. And they had Will, a high school senior and aspiring broadcaster, join them in the radio booth for an inning. You know, it is just opening the door. He has autism, and just giving him an opportunity. And it turned into, he got to call a Cedric Mullins home run to right field, which is
that's awesome.
It's just one of those, like, how can you not be romantic about baseball moments, and just hearing his emotion when he was calling that out, and how the broadcasters helped him along. So just go ahead and give it a listen, folks. Here you go.
This was like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. That ball is drilled.
Hey, Will.
Deep right field. No ball's out of here. Goodbye, home run.
From who, Will?
Cedric Mullins. It's a solo home run. And the Orioles are up. 2-1 O's.
Will, you just called a bleak home run.
Wow. Cedric Mullins goes deep, and the Orioles have a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 4th.
That was impressive, my friend. Cool as a cucumber.
So, yeah, that is, you see why I love that, and I want to make sure everyone out there heard that as well.
Well, back-to-back games for Michael Massey. I like when we can call it the fill-in-the-blank, the Michael Massey show, or whoever it is. It means things are going well. What changed in the 6th inning for you guys? You had the RBI ground out, but a guy that was unhittable to that point, suddenly everything started rolling.
Yeah, I think Izzy, set the tone in that inning, hitting that ball down the left field line and getting some traffic on and getting defenders out of position. And that was a big battle to win right there, because like you said, until then he shut us down, and I felt like he kind of started worrying about base runners, missing middle maybe a little bit, and we were able to capitalize.
Your bullpen's so good, but always nice to be able to get a little bit of breathing room. That dugout just jumped out of their seats when you hit that home run, or they were hoping that it was going. How much, if at all, were you able to make adjustments from the end of the game in Game 1 on Monday against Pearson?
Yeah, I think anytime you see a guy multiple times, usually his stuff doesn't change, right? So just felt like I had a better look at him tonight, and was able to stay inside that breaking ball and luckily keep it fair.
Last thing, last night I asked you about the pitching performance of Cole Reagans, so I'll ask you the same about a guy that went 14 innings and gave up 1 run on this road trip, doing it in a totally different way than Cole Reagans does.
Yeah, I mean, Seth uses all his pitches, stays in the zone, attacks hitters, works quick, man. He's fun to play behind, so we're in a good spot with that rotation of that bullpen. So great job by Seth, and just keep it rolling.
Last thing real quick, the guy, I mean, he's throwing water at you, I know, but when you watch him make one of those plays up the middle, you've got some too, that chemistry. What do you see when you see Bobby out there?
I mean, half the time I just try to stay out of his way. He's such a special player, and some of the things he gets to out there, you sit there in amazement. So I think he threw that ball from his butt and probably threw it harder than any ball I've ever thrown in my life. So he's fun to play with, and glad he's on our team.
Fun to watch all of you. Enjoy the off day. We'll see you on Friday.
Thanks, Joel.
Yeah, really impressive. I mean, it's fun to watch. It's just becoming one of those things, like he can do whatever he wants with the ball. sink it, cut it, up, down. The breaking ball is impressive, and he just throws so many strikes. And if he misses, they're such small misses that they have to honor those as well. So, you don't want to take that for granted because he's just putting together some of the best pitch games we've seen.
No, he has a ton of pitches, but is he doing anything different between starts? Is it the same? It just seems like every time he's taking them off balance.
Yeah, I think he does have a lot to work with, and so I don't know how another team game plans for him, but he seems to have that knack to get one step ahead in the cat and mouse game.
What was the turning point against Chris Bassett in that 6th inning there as he has a no-hit bid going?
Well, getting the hit, getting Izzy on base was the big thing there, and to get to second, you feel pretty good where you are in the order to be able to manufacture at least one there and just break the ice. So Michael getting him to third and Bobby getting him in, that was really what started it for us.
Was there any adjustments in the approach that third time through the order, seeing him?
I don't think so. We didn't threaten him at all the first 5 innings. I don't think we maybe squared one ball up, but, he had everything working. So, Izzy got the 2 strikes, and we're fortunate that ball got in for the double.
What have you seen from him? I think since that home run, it seems like things have been clicking a little bit more for Isbel.
Yeah, I think he's getting into some at-bats a little bit more. He's working the counts a little more, and that comes and goes, right? Because sometimes you're going to be down 0-2 and you can't really do a whole lot about it, but he's going after the pitches that he can handle a little bit more.
And then with Lugo, I wonder if there's anything that you've seen that's gone into the strikeout numbers the past 2 games, or if that's more of what you kind of expected.
Well, that's a good question. Maybe, not seeing these teams as much, maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe they're not as familiar with him. But again, when you throw as many strikes as he does and you can expand little by little like he does, you're going to get some swing and miss.
You see a lot of nice plays from Bobby. What about the one that kept the shot there?
Man, that was a great play. I'm glad you asked about that because that should not go unnoticed. Just to get something on that throw once he got there, and to do it accurately, to get a good runner, that was really impressive.
What more can you say about Salvi just this past month, what he's been able to do for your offense?
Yeah, who knows where we'd be without him. Clearly in the clubhouse, on the, behind the plate is receiving. We've talked about that, but at the plate, clearly it's the best I've seen him in the year plus I've been here, and, leading the league in hitting at his age and big clutch RBIs, and it's impressive, and especially knowing that he's battling the tight back and stuff today, to go out there and execute a game plan and put up good at bats all day long.
Jeremy, before we get on out of here, anything to add?
Ryan O'Hearn.
If you say his name thrice, he will appear.
That's Dan Zimborski.
Oh, dang it. Well,
Zimborski.
No! Ah!
He'll be in the comments now. Just wait.
I love it. Well, all right, man. Let's go ahead and get on out of here. Once again, my name is Jake Milham. He is Jeremy Greco. Go support the podcast. You can follow us on social media, on X and TikTok at Royal Rundown Pod. But most importantly, go check out Jeremy and the team's work over at RoyalsReview.com. Great stuff going on over there. Thank you all for listening and supporting us. And until next time, go Royals.
Zimborski.